role in the horse industry or equine industry, and how did you prepare for it?
Well, I'm, predominantly a trainer. I train the horses, start to finish, showing. As you can tell, students taking lessons and learning. So predominantly I'm a trainer and a showman. And then as far as preparing for it, I don't know. I grew up riding horses, been around the farm and horses all my life. And just something after I got out of the Marine Corps, I decided that was the path I wanted to take. So doors got open and I stepped through the door and took the chance, and a lot of work with other trainers, learning from them, learning how to do this, learning how to get to where I wanted to be. And just a lot of work. It's a lot of preparation and a lot of learning.
Gotcha. What does a typical day or week look like for you?
Like during the summertime, most of the time I'm here at the barn between 2:30 and 3 in the morning, getting things ready, because you want to beat the heat, because it tears down the cattle real fast when you're working cattle and wears them out, and it's hard on the horses. So usually I'm here at the barn most of the time 12 to 14 hours a day. And then riding, working, you get all the horses rode and working, and you got to bathe them and everything and take care of them. And then you got to keep up with the cattle, so it's an all-day job to work, do what we do.
What do you find most rewarding or challenging about your work?
The most rewarding is I love the younger horses. I try to concentrate on the 2-year-olds up to 5, 6-year-olds. And when the horses really start getting into their work, and when they start really picking it up and you can see the results, and like from day to day, the changes in the horse, and then something like on the young ones you've been working on, and then finally it clicks and they get over there and do it themselves. When the situation arises, the challenges, the cattle are always different. So you got to challenge yourself and the horse to how the cattle are working different and how they change, and some get faster, some get slower, and the horses are always evolving. They're getting smarter, they're getting more athletic. I mean, the things these horses can do is just, you sit there in your head and you're physically like, how in the world did we just do that? For being such a large animal, but being so physically capable of moving the way they move. It's really amazing, to see horses like these, and you see pictures of yourself and pictures of other people where your feet are almost on the ground because the horse is working so low below you. It's just amazing.
What major trends or challenges are currently impacting your field?
I don't know that there's really any changes or anything that's really currently affecting our field. Like I just said a while ago, the horses are getting smarter, they're getting quicker, they're getting, the athleticism of these horses today from 20 years ago is completely different. They react so different, they work so different. It's a whole, if you watch cutting from 20 years ago and then watch a cutting from today side by side, and you're going to be like, holy cow, look at the difference in the horses. And there is a big difference. And if you're not used to looking at it, some of the differences you may not notice, but you'll still notice the differences in the horses. As far as the changes and stuff in the industry, I think it's just the more athletic horses that we're riding today.
Yeah.
The smarter horses. I mean, not that the horses from yesteryear weren't smart, because they were very smart. But these guys today are head and shoulders above what they are. You know, and that's the challenge too, because these horses are always thinking. And they're always trying to figure out how to help you, as long as you're asking the right way. So it's a matter of just learning the challenge of each horse and to get them to excel to the best of their ability.
Awesome. How do you stay current on new research or developments?
Because when we go to the shows, us trainers are always talking and always.
I can imagine that would be a big hub for information.
Yeah, I mean, we're always at the shows, we're visiting about this, you know, different things, different goings on, how each other does different things, you know. That's like at the end of the week, I'm going to be leaving a few days early for the futurity, because I'm going up to work with a couple of friends of mine before we go to the big show. And I mean, that's really how we stay in tune with everything of what's going on. And the NCHA is really good at keeping information in front of us as to what's being done in the industry, what's coming up, what's to look forward to, or what's different changes are coming, you know. So they're real good about posting stuff online for us, is what's coming up as far as their end of it goes. But as far as like our end of it goes, you know, the trainers, we all visit, we all talk and discuss things and different situations with different horses and how to handle different things.
Gotcha. Are there any recent studies or innovations that have influenced your work?
Not that I can think of, not really. I mean, because, I mean, we got all different ways of, you know, working the horses, and like, you see the flag hanging over here. You know, we use the flag to practice on, and some saves the cows. You're not working the cows as much. They have one now that are on tracks. They have one that are on tracks, actual tracks, and goes across the ground. You know, so it depends. I mean, there's all kind of different things you can get to do this job with, to train with. It just depends on how much money you want to spend to do it.
What personal qualities or skills do you think are most important in your profession?
I think kind of like what we talked before. You got to have drive. You got to have desire. Want to. And in all honesty, the drive is the main thing, because this is not. And again, I'm not trying to downplay or make anybody think anything different, because this is the greatest job in the world to me. But if you don't have the drive and you don't have the desire, then it's probably not the job for you, because it's like I said, it's a lot of work. It's a 24-hour-a-day job.
Yeah. Can you walk me through a typical training week or training session?
Well, on a single horse, or are you talking about overall, like a whole day training?
I'd say on a single horse.
Well, on a single horse, most of the time, you know, First of all, getting them saddled up, getting brushed up, saddled up, ready to go. We typically spend 20 to 30 minutes legging them up, trotting them, walking, trotting, loping, getting them warmed up, ready to work, getting their muscles stretched out, getting them stretched out, because this is a physical, very physical sport on them. So we take our time, get them warmed up, get them stretched out, get them legged up, and then once we do that, then I'm probably going to switch head stalls on them or something, change up a little something on the head stall, and then go in and spin them around a little bit, bend them, flex them, make sure they're paying attention to my feet, make sure they're not stiff anywhere, and then I'll go in and start driving a cow out and start putting them through their paces of working the cow and being in the right spot, hitting the stop at the right time, hitting the turn at the right time, reading the cow. And then we'll spend about, after all that's done, we'll spend about 10 minutes or so just walking them around, just let them cool off. And most of the time we'll come up here to the bridle rack, take the bridle off, put the halter on, and then just ride them around with just their halter, so there's nothing on their face. You know, they're just relaxing. They're like, "Oh, we had a good day. We're already done."
Yeah.
You know, and it just helps them relax and understand that they did a good job.
What conditioning do you apply in your training?
I think we just talked about that. We go walking, trotting, roping.
Yeah. Basically what she's doing right now.
Basically what she's doing right now, you know. Belinda, come up here just a minute. You know, you see, Belinda, come over here just a second. Like this horse you saw when she first got on him, just right there's fine. You saw when she first got on him before she started warming up, he was a little elevated in his head and everything else, and that's fine. That's, I mean, most all of these will come out a little bit elevated, you know, right off the bat. But you notice now he's leveled off, quiet, and he's thinking, and he's got his ears working, so he's thinking about what his job is, and he's worried about what we're going to do here in just a little while.
Yeah.
So he's thinking about it. So the more she warms him up like she's doing, nice and calm and relaxed, when we get ready to work the flag here in a little while, then he's going to be thinking about being calm, being relaxed, you know. So as far as the warm-up goes, I want it nice and quiet. Thank you, Belinda. I just wanted him to see the difference from the beginning to where we're at now.
All right, thank you.
Years ago, Buster Welch always told me, when I was first coming up in this stuff, long time ago, you know, he always told me a calm horse is a thinking horse. A thinking horse is a working horse. And a working horse is a slow horse.
What do you focus on the most in the early stages of cutting?
My focus is to get the horse cowed up to the cow. You know, get that horse to learn to read that cow, learn how to, when that cow moves, you move. When that cow stops, you stop. If the cow's trotting, you trot. If the cow's loping, you lope. And just building that, into them to where they're reading the cow, and just do a whole lot of that, getting them to read the cow, rate the cow, because that's real important. Is they need to learn that from the very beginning, is to learn to read and rate that cow, so they're not overrunning the cow or not getting up to the cow where they're supposed to be in time, and that just takes time. You got to stay after that. So that's my biggest on the beginning of the starting of the cutting horse. You get them to really start learning to read that cow, and when it moves, you move. When whatever movement that cow is doing, walking, trotting, loping, that horse has to be doing the same thing as the cow is doing. Because that cow, when we go show these horses, they have to be a mirror image of what that cow does.
Yeah.
So it starts right there in the beginning. So they got to learn to rate the cow. They got to learn to read the cow, rate the cow, and travel with it.
What is your philosophy on pressure and release in training?
Well, I believe, the horses don't learn from the pressure. They learn from the release. So when you release the horse, that tells the horse that he did the right thing. And that's what we want. And that's where you start getting that softness built in the horses. Is you put the pressure on to get the movement done you want done, but as soon as they do it, you release it as quick as you can so they know they did the right thing. So pressure and release is a big part of our program, huge part of our program, because the end product is I want to be able to put my hand down on that horse and just ride them with just my feet and not have to hang on to their head and their body and everything. And they know when I put my foot in there, they know what movement I want. They know where I want them to get. And if you keep pressure on them all the time, then they don't ever know when they did it right. So when you pressure them, get what you want, back out of them, and release it, they're like, oh, I know, when he put that foot in there on my rib cage, I know what he wants, get those ribs out of the way. And they'll start automatically doing it as soon as you start putting that foot in there and open them ribs up so that they can make that 180-degree turn and come back right through themselves. So pressure and release is huge.
We talked about this a little bit earlier with like the warm-up, but what does a typical warm-up and cool-down routine look like for a cutting horse?
It's like I said a while ago, I'm pretty specific on mine. We don't have the horse on the walker, and we have them tied in here, and then they bring them right in to start warming up. They walk 2 laps both ways, and then trot. And most of them know know the horses. They know when that horse lets down a little bit, and they either, if it doesn't let down as normal, then they'll keep trotting it a little further until it lets down. But we try to do everything balanced both ways. So like I said earlier, if you do 7-8 laps trotting clockwise, then you do 7 or 8 laps counterclockwise. And the same thing with loping. You make 5 loping circles with one direction, you make 5 loping circles the next direction. So everything stays balanced. You cool down, usually we'll walk them around after we've worked them, probably about 5-10 minutes. Let them get their air, let them relax, let them just kind of mellow out, and we'll walk them around about 5 or 10 minutes until they get their air back a little bit and quit blowing so hard. And then we tie them up, grab another one, go again.
Gotcha. How do you define success in a cutting horse?
How do I define success? Well, to me, is when I go to that show and go to that first place hole. That's where I describe success. anytime I go to town and show one of these guys and pick up a check on one of them, that's success. Do I always want to be better than the next time than this time? Yes. But anytime we go take these guys to town and come home with a check in our hand, that's success. That's what I call success. You know, like when I take when my customers go and they show their horse and they have a blast showing their horse in town, that's success.
Nice.
You know, when they show their horse to the best of their ability and do really good, win, lose, or draw. But as long as they walk out of that show pen with a smile on their face and happy with their horse, that's success.
In my research, I found that cutting horses can suffer from musculoskeletal issues, in particular in the stifle. What are your thoughts on this, and have you seen any stifle issues?
Oh, we see stifle issues every now and then, not very often. Like I said earlier, the horses are getting more athletic, they're getting more physical. But you know, I'm sure you play football.
Yes, I do.
There's going to be injuries. You're going to get hurt. They're 100% athletes. They're going to get hurt. Knock on wood, we haven't had any major issues with stifles and hocks. My daughter's old mare, she's 18 now. She's retired in the pasture out there. But her hocks were shot. But I could bring her in right now and she'd still give you 120%. She may lay around the next 2 days, but if you brought her up here to cut a cow, she's going to give you everything she's got, even though she's hurt. But, you know, we keep a close eye on these guys. If they're sore, and we try to get them checked out, or if it's something we think, you know, muscular that we can take care of for a little while, then we'll take care of it right here. If it persists, then we load them up, take them to the vet, have them checked out, and see what we need to do. Stifles and hocks are a big issue. We don't see it near as much as we used to, but it's still, every now and then, it's still show its ugly head. It's one of them sore. And most of the time you can either lay them off for a little while or just put them on the walker and let them keep walking, you know, a little while. Or like some of them, you get them injected and they'll be off for 2 or 3 days, and then it helps take the pain away, and it helps, you know, doesn't really fix the problem, but it helps them get through it.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, there are issues. There's issues with it, but again, with the exercise, the warm up, the stuff helps reduce all of that. You know, if you took Ray Lewis right now and threw him on the football field, I guarantee he's gonna get hurt. Because his muscles ain't ready, his legs ain't ready, you know. It's the same way with them. If you don't keep them exercised, you don't keep them legged up, then you are apt to get more issues with the muscles and with the stifles and with the hocks. You're gonna have major problems. But as long as you keep them legged up and you keep them working and you take care of them, you know, and again, it goes back to what I said earlier about not riding your horse to a problem. That's why I don't like to overwork my horses. When they do right, I put them up. Because they've only got so many runs in them. Just like us, we've only got so many runs in us. So there's no sense overdoing it. So I try to get what I need, get them to perform at their best in the practice pen without overdoing it, and then put them up, and injuries go with it.
Yeah. To tie into this, how do you handle joint maintenance and preservation?
We are, right now, we're fixing to start all of these show horses on Platinum. It's a joint supplement, and we're fixing to start all of these guys on it. If it's a joint issue, we do have a vet that comes out and checks on us every now and then, but most of the time if we want, like not long ago, we took like 7 horses to the vet and just had them do a yearly checkup on them, and they all came back clean. So we try once a year, unless there's an issue pops up, unless one comes up lame or sore. But we try to get them in and have them looked at once a year and see if there's any issues going on, or we have any underlying issues that we need to address, and then we figure out the best prognosis with the vet and address it that way and keep on rolling.
Gotcha. So a lot of communication between you and the vet. And
yes.
All parties associated.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Because without their legs, we ain't got nothing to show.
Yeah, that's true.
And I will not ride a lame horse. I won't do it, because I'm not gonna put one through that pain. So if there's something we need to do, then we'll get it done. If it's a problem that there's nothing we can do about it, retire and put him out there like a mare. She's just become a broodmare. Give us a baby for next year. That's how we handle it around here, because I will not ride a cripple horse.
What kind of diet is a typical cutting horse on?
All these horses get 6 pounds a day grain. They get alfalfa once a day and coastal once a day. And we also we feed the tribute feeds, and we're on synergy with these horses. And then we have they have a little supplement that we add to it that helps with their gut. And then they have another supplement in there that helps with the muscles and the joints as well.
Gotcha.
So we have those 2 supplements that most all of these horses get, and they get, like I said, about 6 pounds a day. We have a couple that are on probably 8 pounds a day. But one is a 2-year-old head horse, gonna be a head horse for us next year, and then the other one is our 3-year-old maturity horse. She takes a little more grain than what some of the others do. Some of them we have to back off every now and then. They start getting a little plump,
chunky.
But and depending on their work schedule, like at the shows, I'll give them a little extra alfalfa at the shows because they're working so hard. I don't want to bump their grade because I don't want them to get them hot. But if we have to, then some of them at the shows we may bump their grain a little bit as well if they're not, if they look like they're starting to drop down on us a little bit or whatever. But
what kind of training does a rider need for this profession?
Well, the big thing is, Belinda, come back up here again. This is another one I'll use her on. The big thing is learning how to stay in the center of your horse. Laterally and horizontally, you need to be able to stay put. We want to stay in the middle of our horse because they're doing the work underneath us. How important is it that we're fixing the riding so that you can cut a cow later on?
It's very important. Very important. Mentally, physically, everything. Me and him.
You have to learn, like I was saying, you have to learn to stay in the middle of that horse this way. You have to learn to stay in the middle of this horse this way. You gotta learn how to use your feet properly, when to use your feet. And you've gotta, like I was telling you a while ago, you gotta tie your feet to the bridle so that when you do something with the bridle, you're doing something with your foot so the horse knows that it's gonna get transferred from the bridle to your feet. Because we want our horses to work between our legs, between our reins and between our legs. And if we're out of whack, they're having to compensate to get us back in whack, which causes them to mess up, and then it causes them to get in trouble for something we did. So it's very important to learn to ride properly, to sit your horse properly, learn how to operate your feet, operate your hands properly, and it takes a lot of work.
When it comes to competing, how does a rider prepare for, well, a competition?
Well, for me, it's to make sure that my horses are in the right frame of mind to be shown, because if they're too fresh, they're gonna go in there and play, they're gonna mess up and make you look like a fool. Mentally prepared, you know, as a trainer, sometimes we overthink it. And we're thinking about too many different variables and we get ourselves in trouble. So the less you think about it, the better off you can be. As far as a rider, such as her or some of the other owners of these horses, you know, the main thing they do is they just mentally prepare themselves. They make a run through their mind, what they want it to look like, and then try to apply it in the show pen when they walk down to the herd. You know, if you over, it's one of those things, if you think long, you think wrong. So think about it, run it through your head, and then just put your game face on and go try to apply what you know, what you've been practicing and learning here, and apply it the same exact way at the show as you do here.
Some common rider mistakes you see in cutting?
Two of the big ones, either they're overriding their horse or they're underriding. They're not, when they're going with their cow, they're trying too hard to overriding their horses past the cow, or they're not riding hard enough with the cow. And that's two of the biggest ones, is they're either overriding or underriding the horse and not getting the horse to perform at the optimal level. Does that make sense?
What advice would you give to students interested in this career path?
The best thing I can say is, like I told you earlier, I mean, you gotta be dedicated and you gotta have the determination and the willingness to learn. If you don't have either one of those three, this ain't what you wanna do. You have to be determined. You have to be dedicated, because you want that animal to give you their life. You gotta be willing to give up your life for them to give you their life. So that's why I was saying earlier, it's a lifestyle. It's not just a job, it's a lifestyle. You have to be dedicated, you have to be committed, and you have to be willing to do the work. And, you know, Mark Chestnut, he told me a long time ago when he was first teaching me this stuff, you know, he said, one of the big things to do is you gotta learn to be a great loser before you can ever be a great winner. Yeah. And that is so true. But you have to be determined, you have to be committed. And it's not just a hop on and go one day and then, oh, well, you know, they did good today, so I'm gonna lay them off for 2 days. It don't work that way. You have to be willing to put in the work and ride these horses. And be willing to sweat, be willing to be cold, and everything in between. So it's a dedication. You have to be willing to change your lifestyle to do this. So with me, it wasn't much changing my lifestyle. I grew up on the farm ranch, you know, so I knew what it was about. I know what it takes. You know, that's why most of the time at 2:30 in the morning, I'm up before my alarm clock ever goes off. So, and even now when it's getting cooler, I'm still waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. But I'm still getting out here at 4:30, feeding, let the horses eat, and then making sure everything else gets taken care of and prepared for them to be able to work. So it's a straight up dedicated lifestyle. And if you don't have the dedication, you don't have the desire, you don't have the drive, you're probably looking at the wrong direction. Because it comes from right here. If you ain't got the heart for it, you're probably not in the right direction.